The Bunyoro Kitara calendar resembles the European calendar but is based on the lunar cycle. That means it's tied up with the motions of the moon and other heavenly bodies. For example, from the appearance of the new moon to the appearance of the next one is constituted as a month. This month is roughly 30 days, right? This year is divided into Isambya and Irumbi. The Isambya lasts from March to August, and these may be described as summer months. Then Irumbi lasts from September to February, and this is equivalent to the autumn. But then both those two are further divided into other two parts. So let's go with the Irumbi first. Irumbi is also equivalent to autumn, right? So it has Kianda, the dry season, December to January, and Itumba, the rainy season between September and November, during which rainfall is sufficient to enable weeds, crops, and grass to grow. So when you go to Isambya, it's also divided into two equal parts. The Kasambura is a dry season between June and August, which is the harvesting period. And the Itoigo, the rainy season, which is between March to May, which is also a planting period. Each of the 12 months of the year has its own name, determined by the cycle of production. I decided to teach it in Runyoro and Rutooro. Why? Because we actually similar in very many aspects, and we also share the same names with the months. So I was like, why not actually tackle both at the same time? So let's go. Before I go into details, I'm putting this out there. Actually, these days, it's hard to find someone who knows the months in either Runyoro or Rutooro. People say them in English. But anyway, January, Igesa or Buswagu. So commonly used, you hear people say Buswagu, that's both Bunyoro and Batoro, but also Igesa is underlying. And Igesa comes from the word Kugesa, meaning to harvest. This is the month of harvesting of millet, beans, and so on. February, Kayaga. Kayaga comes from Omuyaga. Omuyaga meaning wind. This is a dry and windy month, hence Kayaga. Simple. The other word isn't commonly used, Nyarakarwa, but yeah, both Bunyoro and Batoro use Kayaga. March, Ijubya Miyonga or Bwanswa. Actually, Bwanswa is commonly used both in Bunyoro and Batoro. So, Ijubya means becoming wet. Miyonga means dirt or mud, hence wetting farms or fields. In this month, fields were prepared for planting simsim or sesame. April, Machanda. That's Runyoro. Batoro said they call it Itoigo, but I already broke down Itoigo according to the Kitara calendar as a sub-season, right? So you can check that again at the beginning of this video. But yeah, the Batoro will say Itoigo for this one, but Bunyoro will say Machanda. So Machanda means simsim or sesame. This is the month when simsim or sesame is planted. May, Nyamujuna or Rensisezere. Actually, both Bunyoro and Batoro go with the first one. Nyamujuna is the most common one. Nyamujuna comes from Okujuna, meaning to liberate or to help. This is the month when finally harvesting sesame is done. Naming it Nyamujuna is basically referring to having been liberated from the long months of no food. Thoughtful, huh? June, Renkonzi. Bunyoro will say Renkonzi, but Batoro will say Kasambura, which Kasambura is a sub-season in the Kitara calendar, right? So check that out if you don't remember. You can go back so that you revamp your memory. But yeah, why is June called Renkonzi? Renkonzi means the month of Enkonzi, and Enkonzi is a wheat that grows in plantations, often used for making brooms. So this is a dry or warm month where these weeds grow in the gardens where harvesting is finished. July, Isenya. That's where most people stop, both in Bunyoro and Batoro. But formally, It's Isenya Maro, apparently. So Isenya comes from kusenya, meaning to clear or to remove. In this month, men and women would prepare fields for millet. But in hindsight, kusenya also means to harvest. August, ikokoba, mukona taike, or mukona antaike. So here is where I'm having an issue from when I was doing my research. Some people wrote it with an N, some people did not. So I don't know which one was the correct one, because even the meanings were all derived from the first word, which is ikokoba. So it's either mukona taike or mukona antaike. Batoro mukona taike, Bunyoro mukona taike, depending. Ikokoba. Ikokoba comes from kokoba, meaning to burn or to flame. This was the month of burning grass in the millet fields. You actually know that Bunyoro's staple food is millet, right? That's why millet is so common here. September, Siga. Those are Bunyoros. Batoro will either say Irumbi or Itumba. But remember, go back to seasons and sub-seasons of the Kitara calendar. The Irumbi is the autumn season, the one that's similar to autumn, that runs from September to February. Itumba is under Irumbi as the rainy season, which also begins in September. So that's why I feel like they call it Irumba, because the 6-month season of Irumbi starts in September, and the first sub-season and under Irumbi starts in September, which is the rainy season, and it's Itumba. Babanyo will say Isiga. So Isiga comes from Kusiga, meaning to plant. This was the month for planting millet and other foods. So, bingo! October, Ijuba, or Kachungira Mwero. Batoro will normally say Kachungira Mwero, but Bunyoro will use both, so either or. Ijuba comes from Kujuba, to get wet. This month is rainy and wet. It was a month of weeding. November, Rensenene, or some people will say Musenene. Both Bunyoro and Batoro might say Musenene, others will say Rensenene. But Rensenene means the month of grasshoppers, Rensenene. In this month, this is when the grasshoppers start emerging. December, Nyamiganura, or Katuruko. Babatoro will say Kianda. But let's go back to our sub-seasons. Kianda falls under Irumbi, the one that's similar to autumn, and it's the dry season under Irumbi. So, bear that in mind. Nyamiganura comes from Okuganura, meaning to eat the first yield from the garden. This was a month of rejoicing, festivities, and sharing the harvests. Here is a summary of the Bunyoro Kitara calendar from the 6-month season, 3-month seasons, English to Runyoro, and the activities that happen within those seasons or months. Planting world, right? The production, crop production. You can pause so that you take it all in. So yeah, this is everything summarized, everything I've said summarized. But Bunyoro Kitara calendar, not the Toro one. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out my English to Runyoro-Rutooro handbook for more language tips. See you in the next lesson. But before you go, these months remind us of the deep connection between the Kitara people and the rhythms of nature. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the months of the year in Runyoro-Rutooro. By the way, what's your favorite month and why? Let me know in the comments below. Bye-bye.